What is up, guys? Levi Peterson here, back at it with another video. If you're new to this channel, be sure to hit that red subscribe button and like this video. It will help me out a lot. Today's video is going to be on setting up a frogfish tank. Now, if you don't know what a frogfish is, I'm going to show you a picture right here. Frogfish are a type of anglerfish. They got the angler thing on the top, and they get called anglerfish because they're kind of fishing for other fish. You know what I mean? This species of anglerfish, the frogfish, actually has a kind of like legs that maneuvers it around the ocean floor and everything. So like I said, today's video is going to be dedicated to setting up a frogfish tank. Now this tank that I'm actually putting the frogfish in has been up for about a month now. It has a 4-stripe damsel in it, which will probably end up getting eaten or put in the sump refugium under my reef tank. Other than that, we're going to head over there and I'm going to show you the cheap way of setting up a frogfish tank. You don't need all those fancy corals and stuff for it to blend in. So I'm going to go over there and explain how to set up a cheap saltwater frogfish tank. Let's get to it. Alrighty guys, we're at the 30-gallon hexagon tank. I sort of scaped out how I want it, but it's not exactly how I want it, and I'm going to kind of explain a couple cheaper ways to go instead of whipping out all your money for coral and stuff to help the frogfish be living in this environment as well as it can. Now, obviously you want a decent rock structure in there. There is a 4-stripe damsel in here. And obviously, I'm going to add another piece of rock, which is right here. This is dry rock, by the way. It's not live, so don't worry. It's not, like, dying as it's sitting out of the water. Obviously, I just added a snail today because we got some algae issues going on in here, so hopefully he'll help. I'm going to definitely add a couple more snails eventually. Obviously, you can't add shrimp or anything like that because the frogfish will eventually eat it. And he probably will end up eating that damsel if I don't move him out of there. But what I'm going to do, sorry for the lighting, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go over the cheapest way to actually keep a frogfish. The most expensive thing you're going to get in your frogfish tank is the frogfish itself. There's a couple breeds of frogfish out there that go for a little cheaper. I'm getting a really good deal on mine and everything. But what we're going to do is I'm going to kind of put this rock in there. I'm going to kind of do a time lapse for everything. And I'm going to kind of move a couple things around. And I'm going to explain the cheapest way right after I get it all finished out. So we'll be back in a second. Alrighty guys, so I'm pretty well done scaping the tank as far as all the scaping goes and everything. Now there's still a couple tweaks I may end up doing in the future and everything. I will add another piece of this full-on live rock. There's a couple pieces of live rock in there, but I would like to add probably another piece down on the front here. You kind of want a lot of rock work for them. I mean, I know this is a smaller tank and everything, but they really don't move much. They really don't need that big of a tank. A lot of people say, oh, you need a 100-gallon. I mean, maybe for like the giant frogfishes, like the actual giant frogfish species and everything. But you really don't need much because they kind of just sit there, and if they do walk around, they walk around the little part of the sand or kind of maneuver around the rock. Other than that, they just sit there. They are kind of a boring fish, but if you get a pretty one, they're awesome to watch, eat, and everything. So I'm going to kind of show you what exactly I did and how the cheapest way to kind of scape this kind of tank is. I mean, obviously you can go with like cheaper softies like waving hand polyps and green star polyps and all that kind of stuff, but this is like literally probably the cheapest way you could go. Yeah, it may not look the best right now, but once it actually gets going and stuff, and I add a couple different colors of this stuff, it'll be good. And that stuff that I'm going to talk about is macroalgae. Alright guys, here is the tank at the moment. Obviously it's not like pretty right now because I mean I just kind of threw it all together within a couple minutes, as you literally just saw. In here right now I actually have 2 rock flower anemones. Those are probably really the most colorful thing in here at the moment. There's one, and then it split the other day, and there's one guy down here that's hiding a little bit. I don't know why he's in that spot, but he is. And then we got some algae. Well, actually, this is macroalgae, and this is why I said this is like probably the cheapest way to set up a frogfish tank. They love actually sitting in algae. They can kind of drift in it and wait for a fish to swim by. There is actually lots and lots of different kinds of algae out there you can use. Blue hypni algae has actually become way more popular, and that's like a turquoise blue, and it's just beautiful. There's actually lots of different kinds of plants you can get now. There's some dragon fire macroalgae, which I actually am going to try to get at some point. I actually think my store has some in stock right now. I might have to try to get it. But that stuff is just really bright orange, and it's just really cool. And this stuff, it grows pretty quick if you have it in the right condition and stuff. Obviously, it's not going to grow right away after you put it in the tank. It takes some time to adjust and start to growing. But I got it attached to a couple of rocks here, and it's starting to grow pretty well here. I want it to kind of take over the back a little bit, but obviously that's going to be a problem with the suction right there. So it's kind of starting to grow over here, which is totally fine. I got a small little blower in here to kind of keep the circulation going for everything. This tank is doing really well right now. All the parameters are actually good on this tank. I would like to see a little more bacteria and coralline on the rocks before I actually add the frogfish. The frogfish is probably coming in later this week, so I might try to get a piece of live rock tomorrow or something to put in here and try to spread that coralline algae or something, just to make it look a little more prettier. Or there is chemicals you can add or to make the coralline algae just take over your tank and everything, which is actually what I plan on doing for the reef tank, but that's a whole different story. We're going to make videos on that later on. This is obviously the cheapest way to go for a frogfish tank. Straight up, macroalgae is really just super cheap and everything, and it's easy to get your hands on. Lots of different kinds. I got some red Garcia, sea lettuce. This is a type of sword macroalgae. I'm not sure. I was thinking about pulling some Chaeto. It's kind of like spaghetti macroalgae in here, but I decided to leave it at this right now, and I'll probably get some blue hypnia algae eventually to put on that side. There's lots of marine plants you can get too. There's mermaid tail plants and everything, brush plants. There's a lot of different kinds of things you can get for this tank. Finger algae, that's actually really cool. There's lots of different stuff you can do with macroalgae. Obviously you can go like the cheap softy way. Obviously my lighting's not too good on this tank. It definitely would grow probably some waving hand polyps. But if you add coral, then you have to really watch your parameters a lot more, and you also have to make sure the salinity is exactly at 1.025 or even a little bit higher. Now obviously with a smaller tank you do have to be careful with salinity changes and everything. For fish, you could actually keep it a little bit lower, so you have a little more freedom if you're not really doing coral and stuff. But I have anemones in here, so I keep it at 1.025, and I do just about every other week a water change on this guy, because I just have a couple of anemones, and these anemones are doing really fine. And I constantly check my parameters whenever I get the chance to, just to kind of check in on things and everything. If the nitrates are a little high, I'll do a small water change and everything and go from there. Obviously it's going to be a little more expensive to do the water changes unless you know how to mix your salt water, and you do have to be careful. Like I said, if you kind of put too much salt in this tank, there's not enough volume of water to absorb all that salt. Like if I messed up on that and put a whole cup of salt more than I'm supposed to, obviously the fish wouldn't be happy, but they'd be alive. If I did that to this tank would be screwed. And everyone makes mistakes. No one's perfect and everything. So you really just got to watch these smaller tanks. But if you're doing fish only, you kind of have a little bit more leeway, but you still have to be very careful, especially with these smaller tanks. So like I said, this is really one of the cheaper ways to kind of set up a frogfish tank. If you have any questions or anything on macroalgae or just about anything, comment below. And if you have any more questions or have something that I missed explaining in this video, then let me know. But the warty frogfish is definitely coming soon, and I am really excited to get him in. Definitely going to make a video on him and get him going and everything, and I'm super excited for you guys to watch him grow and everything. And I'm like jumping off the walls, so excited. I've been waiting for a frogfish for a long time, but of course I wanted to master a bigger tank before I went with the smaller ones. So it's all a learning process and everything, but everyone can do it if they put their mind to it. So that's pretty much going to wrap it up, guys. Well, guys, that's really going to wrap it up for this video. I really hope you enjoyed it. I'm kind of doing a little work on the reef tank right now. It's not too pretty, but it's getting there. I got a new skimmer and everything because the other one stopped working down in the refugium. So I got to hang on the back. It's cheap and easy, and it's working just fine. It's skimming like mad because the skimmer wasn't running for probably about a week and a half. So this guy's actually going to go on the back, but I have to move that shelf back there because this is right up against the wall and everything. Other than that, we should be about good on this reef tank, and eventually I will add some more corals for you guys and everything. Next video that's coming out is going to be Wednesday, and that's going to kind of be more on my refugium and kind of explaining the algae and what its purposes are, And then I got a couple fish in there and some peppermint shrimp and everything, because there was a little aptasia down in there. So, I mean, peppermint shrimp would eat just about anything, but I wanted them to get rid of that aptasia down there and everything. And there's bristle stars, and I'm just going to explain all that in the next video and kind of show you how they can benefit your refugium and everything, and cleaning your tank in general. Other than that, thanks for watching this video. Don't forget to be the fish and get outdoors. We'll see you next time.